yours, see how it sounds like on your end.
Ah, sound check.
Yeah, that's right, because we gotta make sure it isn't entirely being disrupted by all the cars.
Oh, it's good.
Does it? Looks good, but
Yeah, it looks
does it
good.
sound good? Hold on. How's that? Does it? Looks good, but does it sound good? Hold on. Are there any cars coming, Matt? Does it sound pretty good? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Well, my 2 years as an audio engineering degree says it sounds terrific.
Fuck yeah, alright, I'll take that. I'll take that. What time? What is the time?
It is 2:09.
2:09? Alright, well, we've got to start early then.
Excellent.
Hello everyone on live stream. You can see, hello the 3 people who are here with me. Welcome to my gig. Welcome to my gig in a ditch, guys. It's good to have you all here. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Yagaragal, the Yajara, and Emma. What was it?
Turrbal, Yagara, Jagara.
Yeah, the Turrbal, the Yagara, the Jagara, and the Yagaragal people. And sovereignty was not ceded. Anyway, here's the song. Hey there, slick, you looking schmick, you're quite the lady killer. You call your hand the shocker and you call your dick the thriller. Your sexual prowess might be great, you might be awful proud, but if you don't eat pussy, then you're a fucking coward. But you might be the bravest boy the world has ever seen. You might have climbed Mount Everest just to say you've been, ran parkour across the cliff sides and bungee jumped off towers. But if you don't eat pussy, then you're a fucking coward. It really is quite simple, it can be done all day, unless you have a missing tongue or aren't inclined that way. You've been to war and fought them all and came home quite the hero. On your way, stopped in to save some folks from an inferno. You braved the blaze, a family saved, the building was devoured. Unlike your partner's pussy, cause you're a fucking coward. Whoa, it really is quite simple, just take your tongue and start. Unless you have associated trauma in your heart. But otherwise I can't surmise why you just wouldn't treat it. Just take it from that Weird Al song. Just eat it. Now if you've heard the words I sung and your heart quakes with rage, my own heart goes out to you, it's not too late to change. I don't mean to humiliate, I hope you feel empowered to invest in some pussy and quit being a coward. Thank you. Hell yeah, alright. Well, so, for this particular show, because I don't really have a time limit, I've got like 18 poems here, which I can't really memorize every single one of them, so I've got them all on a piece of paper. But luckily this first one is one that I've been saying for quite a while now, and I've got this one fairly well memorized. It's the first poem I ever wrote. This is called Porter's Pub. Mr. Dudley Porter, he was quite the sort to buy around for all in town in between a quarter. Generosity he'd boast, loudly, more than most. For on this flat, his was the name that founded Porter's Post. Now, Porter's great-grandfather, he was a farmer's son. When work was on, he'd scarp, and underground he'd run. In wombat holes and empty caves, in nooks and cracks he'd coil, till one day deep he'd found his save. Ye gads, the boy had struck oil. Up the hole he flew, huzzah, the lad exclaimed. He knew too well this well would pay. By noon his father's land he claimed, and sold the well next day. Now they hardly saw it coming, from such a mild young chap, with all his guile and cunning, had donned the swindler's cap. And when the mines came with their camps, He told them, smiling bright, there's the open pasture, that's 20 bob a night. Investors cringed, grit their teeth, haggled, swore and grimaced, but Porter, he stayed unperturbed and told them, do your business. The barrel soon came tumbling out. The well she saw no end. That's not how it goes. The barrel soon came tumbling out. The well she spewed and flourished. But with each pay, the land saw half, and Porter's pockets nourished. Time went on, the well endured. The land she saw no end. But being many a mile from Grog, drove campfolk round the bend. Oi, Ryan! There's another one. Drove campfolk round the bend. The boss, he said, expense is high. Old Porter's got a screw. Half the cash us boys pull out is in his flamin' shoe. Now Porter heard the ruckus, and he thought it rather wise that if he should avoid a riot, he'd have to compromise. He sauntered out and called the folks, I'll build your pub, I will. Carry on your honest work, and you'll soon drink your fill. Now Porter built a pub, and then much more than that. Stables, halls, general stores, and all sorts round the flat. A lumber yard for timber beams, a cobbler for your shoes, a seamstress for your trouser seams, and a brothel for your blues. A doctor for what ails a man, a counsellor for his frown, and on the streets a rattling tram to take him up and down. Banks and bakers, grocery stores, hats and clothiers too. Butchers' spurs and sweets galore, old Porter had come through. But when the time had come at last to fill the shops with willing staff, old Porter did as he'd done in the past, and always took his cheeky half. The day had come, the sun was high, the folks all gathered round. Today's the day old Porter's pub would open to the town. The brass band played an ode to joy, the opening pub doors creaked. The folks all filed in feverishly to hear old Porter speak. Good and honest townsmen, noble short and tall, a promise is a promise, so I give to you this hall, wherein you all may drink and sing to your merry heart's content. Never have you ever seen a more grand establishment. But with what coin, dare I ask? All ears turned around. A stocky-looking stockman had stood and took his ground. Our dosh goes to equipment, hats and grocers too. I can't afford to buy a whore, and I hear half goes to you. Old Porter started sweating, for every working man had had a chat and soon clued into Porter's cunning plan. Get that flaming bastard, he's bleeding us all dry. And now he's trying to console us with a drink we cannot buy. The mob closed in with tightened fists, guns and shovels drawn. They'd had enough, this wouldn't fly, none yesterday was born. Old Porter, shaken in his boots for every man to see, could muster mere a mild murmur. Oh, how about a drink on me? Now, Mr. Dudley Porter, he comes from cunning stock, but still he stays fair income till the pub's front doors are locked. For old Porter did impart on him a point to make him think. If you're gonna screw a man, at least buy him a drink.
Hey!
How many people do we have live?
Not enough.
I can't see any of their messages. It's in the distance. Excellent. Hello,
Zach and
thank you.
Matisse are watching.
I love you. Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Shot him a message before. I was like, are you coming? Didn't hear back from him. The bastard.
Hey, here's another song. If the green ants don't get me first.
Is that the name of the song?
No. I didn't write this song. This song was written by an old American man called Woody Guthrie. Some folks call him the godfather of folk. Something like that. But when I was researching him a while ago, so, you know, when you get into some new music, you get really excited. You know, you want to look around, you want to see what's good. I found out that he had a problem with spontaneous combustion, that he randomly caught fire sometimes. Yeah, that's a fun fact. You can take that home. This song here, this is called Buffalo Skinners. It's a little bit hard on my fingers, but I'll do my best. That might need to be tuned. How about that? Or at least these bottom few strings, perhaps. There's the culprit. Well, this sounds much better, doesn't it, Matt?
Much better. You fixed it up perfectly.
Come on, you old-time cowboys, and listen to my song. Do not grow weary, I'll not detain you long. Concerning some wild cowboys who dared agree to go and spend a summer pleasant on the trail of the buffalo. I found myself in Griffin in the spring of '83 when a well-known famous drover, he came walking up to me. Said, "How do you do, young fellow? How would you like to go spend a summer pleasant on the trail of the buffalo?" Well, me being out of work right then, to the drover I did say, going out on the buffalo road depends upon your pay. And if you pay good wages, transportation to and fro, I think I might go with you on the hunt of the buffalo. Well, of course I pay good wages and transportation too, if you agree to work for me until the season's through. But if you do get homesick and you try to run away, you're gonna starve to death out on that trail and also lose your pay. Well, with all that flattering talking, he signed up quite the train. Some 10 or 12 in number, all able-bodied men. Our journey was a pleasant one as we hit that westward road, until we crossed Old Boggy Creek down in old New Mexico. That's where our pleasures ended and our troubles soon began, when a lightning storm did hit us and made our horses run. We got all full of stickers from the cactus that did grow. Outlaws waiting to pick us off in the hills of Mexico. Well, working season ended, but the drover would not pay. He said, "You drunk too much and you're all in debt to me." Us cowboys had never heard of such a thing as that new bankrupt law. So we left that drover's bones to bleach out on the trail of the buffalo. Thank you. Now the fun starts. Okay?
Well, you got some Marty Robbins lined up.
Oh yeah, got some. No, I've got a few songs, but this is the first of the poems that I have to read from this sheet. Now, a bit of backstory on this one. My lovely partner and I, Emma, we like to go up to Mullaney. We like to go up to Mullaney sometimes to visit a dear friend of ours. His name's Matt. He lives in the mountains. He's a mountain man. Mountain man Matt. So some cows and some goats. It's very lovely, but the road there, it can be quite deceptive, because the GPS, it'll take you all sorts of ways, and we're always warned by our good friend Chantel, be sure to steer clear of Postmans Track. And the last time we went, we did not steer clear of Postman's Track. And the experience therein led me to write this poem. This is called Postman's Track. Some folks think themselves quite clever, steering sharp and swift. Slow down just a second in their way and they'll get miffed. But be you such a driver, I suggest you watch your back and keep your wiles and wheels away from Postman's Track. It came to pass that such a sort should speed that very way, around the sunny hinterlands in search of hasty play, barreling round the turns at night with foot flat on the gas, rousing locals from their rest and driving like an ass. When up around a bend he came, and dead ahead he saw the flash of lights in red and blue which heralded the law. Swift and quick he shifted his whip down gear and doubled back. To flee the road he took a turn and howled down Postman's Track. But nothing could prepare the sod for what he had in store. The sudden slopes and slaloms shook the speedster to his core. Screeching brakes, he swerved and snaked and skidded down the way. They caught him shook and in a bush with nothing left to say. Next day he left the watch house, his car quite out of tact. He heard the locals laughing and dishing out the flack. Take your car and bugger off, and don't you dare come back, for that'll teach you, silly boy, to hoon down Postman's Track. Excellent. Awesome. I played this, I'll get that back later. I did this next one at a gig I did recently at the Flamin' Galah. My first gig. Now I need that back immediately. Huh? You've got to keep your caps on your bottles. There's a big slope right here. Oppa! So anyway, this poem is about site security and occupational health and safety and all sorts of things. We've got a really good joke segue to go into it, but I'm not going to do that today. I don't think any of you work in construction. Hear me, for I'm fat Sack McCracken, and don't you let me catch you slacking, for I'm the foreman here on site, so play it safe or find a smacking. No flippin' files or hurlin' hammers, shaking saws or slinging spanners. Brandish bricks, I'll have your head. Fool with tools, you'll wind up dead. Keep your nails and screws in check. Don't have them strewn about the deck. Follow the plan, don't make a guess. There's reasons for OH&S. The safety on the site's the key, and that's shared responsibility. Round here we function as a squad, and that means you silly sod. So, make the foreman say it twice. That Sack McCracken won't play nice. He'll blow his top and throw a fit at any flippant use of kit. Think you're clever? Think you're slick? Fat Sack will smack you on the dick. Down your tools and send you packing. He'll see you out with one more whacking. For no one gets a painless sacking when they cross Fat Sack McCracken. Oh, hey. So in my first show, I brought a lot of poems that were very comedic, very funny, very sprightly, but this is the first of what'll be a few serious poems that I've written. Anyway, this poem is called The Darkness. There was a darkness. It was made clear in an instant, and since then it's left an imprint in my mind. I'm unable to shake it, to perceive this world as kind, and all such thoughts of fancy I've been forced to leave behind. There is a darkness. In every step and turn and sight, the mark of yoke is brought to light. At whose behest plays out my toil? Who profits from my plight? I sit amongst a chosen few, convinced we have to fight. Fight to keep the darkness. For from all sides they scorn us, and their change shall bring us grief. The smallest step in such a way lends leeway to a thief. In interest of the status quo, they must be chained beneath, kept inside the darkness. For therein lies the danger. If we all truly won, equal with superfluous distinctions numbered none, surely shadows we would shirk to march towards the sun, to turn away from darkness, to light and helping hands outstretched in glory for each other, to seek to know your sister and to understand your brother, to make it so for all that roam, a kinder world I'd rather. Let life long live, loving and lively, far from the darkness.